Hey, it's Carl from Chestnut Paradise, and I'm here to show you an update on our orchard. It's the spring, so there's not so much craziness going on here, and you can actually sort of see what's happening. So these are some black currants that are about 10 years old, and these are sort of what inspired us to go crazy with the black currants. I planted about 800 in 3 hours. It's a separate video, and you can basically just, after you get the softwood cuttings, just stick them in the ground and they grow almost like a willow. And here you can see our garlic beds are doing really good. And they're in a very wet area, but we've raised the bed up quite a bit. And then over here is the orchard. So when we do our orchard, we don't really pay as much attention to the weeds as most people do. We just sort of let the weeds go crazy. And then around the trees, you can see we've planted some comfrey there, some daffodils, and then there's about 8 inches of woodchip. So that really makes the trees be quite happy. And then on the north side of the row, we have a thornless honey locust. So every third tree is an apple tree, and then so we have like an apple tree, a pear, peach, plum, cherry, and then a honey locust that's nitrogen fixing. And they just keep alternating. You can see there's a bumblebee right there. They really love the daffodils. And this year we've planted about 3,000 strawberries. You can see a lot of the wild strawberries here. And there's a black currant right there. We just stuck that in the ground last year, and look at it, it's doing so well. And the wild strawberries, we're just planting the domesticated strawberries right next to the wild strawberries in the hopes that they can sort of compete with each other. So this brings up an interesting point about strawberries and raspberries. Like everybody says, oh, you can't plant domesticated strawberries and raspberries where there's already strawberries and raspberries because there's diseases that can transfer between the wild ones to the domesticated. We just haven't seen that. So when we see a patch of wild strawberries or raspberries, for the raspberries we just we cut them all down with the hedge trimmers, throw cardboard on them, and then just put soil and wood chips on top, and then plant the raspberries by poking the shovel through the cardboard and sticking them there. And we've had really good results with that. And with the strawberries, we literally just throw an extra couple inches of wood chips on top and then plant the domesticated right next to the wild ones. And we've had very good luck with that. So this is about a 3-year peach. There's 2 contender peaches. We're pretty happy. And we've had really good luck with this Crimps 5 cherry too, which is probably the best cherry rootstock we found for the clay soil that we have. And there's a pear tree you can see shooting straight up. We really need to talk a little bit about flags. We're not crazy about stuff that's cheap and manufactured in China, but these survey flags are pretty critical for what we're trying to do. And it helps to remember where you planted stuff. So when you come through with a weed whacker, if you do, you don't accidentally kill the stuff that you were trying to save. A lot of times we'll write with permanent marker on the flag what it is that we're marking. And then we'll also use different colored flags for different things. So I've bought maybe 10 different kinds of survey flags on the internet. And the one that I found works the best is the Hansen, which seemed to last for 3 years pretty reliably. More than that, you're really pushing it with any flag. And if you buy them at 1,000 a time, they're about 10 cents each. If you buy them 100 at a time, they're about 15 cents each. So you really need to have survey flags to see what's going on with your stuff. So here you can see we just planted a bunch of strawberries here. And basically what we do is we end up getting the trailer loaded with wood chips. We give the guys at Cortland Highway Department a 6-pack of beer, and they use the front loader to give us about 6 yards, which is about 4,000 or 5,000 pounds of wood chips. Then we just drive down this aisle and unload the wood chips from the trailer. And we found that unloading wood chips from a trailer is way easier than doing it from a truck because it's much lower and you can access it from the side pretty easily. And you can see here all these weeds that were left over from last year, how big the weeds got and how they took over. We've really been trying to allow the milkweed to grow and to propagate, to go to seed here. And at one point I was down here and I think we saw 14 monarch butterflies in one place. So the monarchs really love of it here, and they've been sort of going crazy. And they're very thankful for the milkweed that we allow to grow here. There's also some dogbane, and the thing is that pretty much anything, you want anything other than grass to grow for your fruit trees, because grass is what competes. So strawberries, dogbane, milkweed, like we don't really care that much about that stuff. We just don't want grass. So you can see these mulberries here. These are about 2.5 years old maybe. And we planted another 50 mulberries this year, mostly for wildlife. And they can get to be very big and are great for feeding birds. Here you can see along the fence, every one of those red flags is actually a mulberry. And yeah, they're just great for wildlife, and they seem to really grow well in the clay soil. So here you can see, this is the expansion we did last year, and it's all chestnuts, hazelnuts, mulberries, and asparagus. So up here we planted 1,000 asparagus right there, and we're really excited and just to see kind of what happens with the asparagus. We put a bunch of compost on it. We also put a lot of leaves and other stuff in the fall and let it sit through the winter. You can see that it's pretty much mostly composted now. So we started out with the wire cages, and we've really been moving away from those and we're just using the spiral wrap now. And these hazelnuts, you really only need to protect them the first year, and then after that it doesn't really matter if they get destroyed by the voles, because their root system will be extensive enough to recover from it. I just want to show off this black currant. Now we planted this probably last year, and man, look at how much it's grown in just a year. This is Titania, which is, we really like it. It's a little bit sour. Well, this was our nursery last year, but we decided to reclaim it. So we planted a bunch of grafted fruit trees here instead. So we'll grow probably squash this year in that soil, but over the next 2 or 3 years we'll probably abandon it. And I don't think we're going to use plastic. We used plastic last year to grow our squashes, and we didn't have really good results with it. So this is our flower garden right here. It doesn't look like much right now, but in the summer we'll have an unbelievable number of flowers. So people get really frustrated when they try to grow stuff, and they go out and they buy a $30 or $40 fruit tree and they plant it and it doesn't grow, and they just sort of get discouraged. And the thing I would really tell people is that, like, you really have to not be discouraged about stuff. Just try to plant stuff from seed, which is really cheap. Most seeds you can get for 20 to 50 cents. And also, just plant a lot of stuff. So for a grafted fruit tree, it's usually $30 to $45, and we just buy the rootstocks ourselves for about $3, and then graft whatever scion we can get our hands on, which usually we get for free from friends, or we just cut them from trees we already have. And really, if you just plant like about 10 times as much stuff as what you hope to have, then even if 90% of it dies off, you'll still be happy. If you just plant one thing and then it dies, then it sort of takes all the steam out of it. So, like, I got pretty good at planting strawberries. I did a video where I can plant almost 500 strawberries an hour. And we really love strawberries, so we figured no matter how much we have, we can freeze them or we'll eat them. So, yeah, just plant like crazy, and something will come up. Thanks so much for watching, and we love you all, and keep planting more stuff.